Hey guys, today I have compiled the best solo farms as well as tips, tricks and secrets that I have learned over the years of coaching players in Destiny 2. This guide is going to teach you the most efficient ways of obtaining all the materials in the game. Before we get into the video, I firstly want to thank you guys for the outstanding support that the channel has been getting recently. And a huge shout out to everyone that joined the Patreon. You guys allow me to continue making guides, so thank you. I am not going to include the season pass in each segment because I feel like everyone knows about it. I do also have a video on my channel that shows you how to claim rewards from older seasons. So if you left out any cores, prisms or shards, you can go ahead and grab them. Lastly, keep in mind that there are ghost mods that will slightly increase the amount of materials that you obtain in some activities, so if you really want to min-max, then equipping these when farming wouldn't be a bad idea. Starting off with exotic armor, if you're a new player, then this is one of the first things you should do in Destiny 2. One of the most basic ways of obtaining exotics in general is by playing the game and grabbing the rewards from playlist activities and vendor rank ups such as Zavala, the Drifter and Shax. The first time you reset your rank with them, you will get an Ascendant Shard, but after that you will start getting exotics on each reset. The actual best method to farm exotic armor requires you to be at least 1810 power level in order to do this comfortably. Now, if you're lower, you can still do it, it's just going to be slightly harder. This method involves farming lost sectors in their legend difficulty. You have about a 30% chance of obtaining an exotic as long as you kill every single champion before opening the final chest. Depending on the lost sector and your loadout, some of these can be performed even in under a minute. Also, a trick that you can do when farming lost sectors is to have your engrams full, that way the exotics go to your postmaster and you can open them on any other day to get the armor piece for that day. So for example, if you farm lost sectors on leg day, but you open the exotic engrams on arms day, then you will actually get exotic gauntlets. Another very simple way to obtain exotics is by doing Vex incursions whenever they pop up on Neomuna. You can see when the event is happening on your map, and upon completion, you will get a guaranteed exotic armor piece that you don't already own. There's also a very handy Discord server that pings you whenever a Vex incursion is about to happen, so if you're interested, I suggest you guys join. The coil actually has a very low chance of dropping an exotic at the end, as long as you get platinum score. Nightfalls have a chance of dropping exotics that you already own at the end of the activity, and in higher difficulty Nightfalls it's almost guaranteed. You can also visit Xur every week to see what he's selling. This can be a bit pricey for new players, but if you are just getting started, then this is an easy way to get some exotics early on. To see Xur's location, you can go to where'sxur.com. That website updates every week showing his location. Finally, if you want to focus specific exotics or even try your luck with random ones, then Rahul in the tower allows you to do that. Once again, it is a bit pricey but absolutely worth it if you want a better roll on a specific exotic. Moving on, since we are on the topic of armor, then high stat armor should be your priority when getting started. By far, the easiest way to obtain high stat armor is to simply buy it from any of the vendors in the Helm. They all sell very high quality armor, and even after they are gone next season, we will most likely get new seasonal vendors in their place that will also sell high stat armor. If you want a more detailed guide, then I have a video on my channel, feel free to check it out. After obtaining the exotics and the high stat armor, we still need to masterwork them, and for that you're going to need a lot of rare materials such as Ascendant Shards and Enhancement Prisms. To obtain Ascendant Shards, the most basic method is to reset your rank with each vendor in the tower. The first time you reset it, you will be given one Ascendant Shard. Any further resets will give you exotic engrams instead. Once again, the coil will reward you with Ascendant Shards at the end, as long as you get a platinum score. Although difficult, the coil can be soloed, but it also has matchmaking built in if you want to try your luck with random guardians. Next up, Master and Grandmaster Nightfalls also have a high chance of dropping Ascendant Shards. In Grandmasters, it's guaranteed as long as you get Platinum. If you're a solo player, then you probably won't be able to do it. However, I highly recommend finding a team when it's double Night for rewards, because you'll be able to get 4 Ascendant Shards for every completion. In the tower, we also have Rahul, and he will exchange you 1 Ascendant Shards for 10 Prisms. This is honestly a fair trade, so if you have any spare Prisms, go ahead and grab the Ascendant Shards. And finally, for PvP players, you can actually obtain Ascendant Shards once you get your trial card to 7 wins. You don't even have to go flawless, simply keep on playing for a low chance of obtaining a shard. Moving on, we have Enhancement Prisms, which overall are not the most mandatory material in the game, and that's why in most cases people will turn it into Ascendant Shards. Lost sectors on Legend or Master difficulty are your best friend when farming these solo. Master difficulty will provide you with more prisms, but it is not worth the extra time that it takes unless you can do both at similar speeds. Keep in mind that these can also be completed with a fire team if you don't care about the exotics. Enhancement Prisms can also be obtained as a reward for leveling up with vendors in the tower, so make sure you pay them a visit once in a while. Once again, the coil also drops prisms on platinum completion, and you can do it solo or matchmake with other guardians. Just like with Ascendant Shards, Nightfalls have a chance of dropping prisms at the end, and this can be done on any difficulty, although lost sectors are much more efficient if you don't care about the Ascendant Shards. There is also a little trick that has been around for years, and this allows you to turn 1 Ascendant Shard into 3 prisms and 3 cores. You basically grab a blue armor piece from collections, then you masterwork it, and after that you can dismantle it. This costs you 3 prisms, 3 cores, and 1 Ascendant Shard, but in return you get 6 prisms and 6 cores. Finally, we have Rahul in the tower, and he also offers you 1 Enhancement Prism for 10 cores, which is honestly borderline a scam, and you should never use this unless you have thousands of cores and are very desperate for prisms. Moving on, we have Enhancement Cores, and these are probably the currency that you will use the most in the game, especially if you want to save time leveling up weapons and crafting gold rolls. The first and easiest method is Banshee Bounties. These reset daily and can be completed on each character, giving you a total of 84 cores per week. Enhancement Cores can be obtained in lost sectors when looting the chest at the end. They are an extremely common reward, and you should be farming legendary lost sectors if you want to obtain a lot of them. Keep in mind that these can also be completed with a fire team if you don't care about the exotic. The Blinding Well activity is also quite popular for farming Enhancement Cores, as it will provide you with around 5 cores per completion, which takes about 8 minutes. Blinding Well's big brother, the Coil, will also provide you with Enhancement Cores. However, if you purely want cores, then Lost Sectors and Blinding Well are better. In a 30-minute Platinum Coil run, I got 9 Enhancement Cores. Ranking up with vendors in the tower, as well as some seasonal vendors, will also provide you with Enhancement Cores. Nightfalls can be farmed for coils, and in this case you can do it in any difficulty. However, this is the least efficient method. Rahul in the tower also has a very good exchange rate with 5 cores for 1 prism. However, these are limited and you can only buy so many. If you want an unlimited prisms to cores exchange, then you can simply go into your collections and grab any blue armor piece, then you upgrade it to 8 energy, and after that you can dismantle it. This will cost you 3 cores and 1 prism, but in return you will get 6 cores, meaning that the exchange is 1 prism to 3 cores. I use this all the time. Next up, we have Legendary Shards, which I believe most people don't struggle with unless you're just getting started. Also, do keep in mind that this currency is getting removed from the game in final shape. However, I am pretty sure that there is still plenty of players making use of it right now. To obtain Legendary Shards, you simply got to play the game more. At least that's what everyone says, and they are not wrong. However, if you want to quickly farm them, then first of all, a prosperity mod on your ghost shell will give you a chance to obtain extra gear at the end of some activities, which later you can dismantle for legendary shards. The coil is excellent for this since you get a lot of loot that you can dismantle along the way. In one 30-minute platinum run, I managed to get 54 legendary shards, which is pretty good. Thirst of Eternity is also quite good when it comes to mass obtaining gear to later dismantle. The activity itself has nice rewards, but later on you can also complete Star Horse bounties for Paraversal Hall containers, which provide you with more items, and you can also get treasure keys, which once again you can use to open the treasure chest at Xurs, giving you even more items to dismantle. Moving on, we have Glimmer. This, alongside Enhancement Cores, is a currency that you will be spending every single day in Destiny 2. If you have Rainmakers in your inventory, you can go ahead and pop them. This will instantly give you 3000 Glimmer. Rahul in the tower also has a bunch of exchanges that you can use to buy yourself some Glimmer. You can use old planetary materials, old crafting materials, or even legendary shards as well as phantasmal fragments. If you are really desperate for Glimmer, then completing public events with the Glimmer Booster Ghost mod equipped is a really nice way to farm some easy Glimmer. I suggest either EDZ or Nessus, since those always have public events running. Next up, we have upgrade modules. The easiest way to obtain them is to simply buy them from Banshee for legendary shards and cores. However, this can get expensive if you're just getting started. So for a free way to obtain them, you can also run the campaign in Legend difficulty, since the chest throughout will drop guaranteed upgrade modules. However, this can only be done one time per character. Any further runs will not drop any loot. Another way to obtain them is by visiting the seasonal vendors as well as the playlist ones in the tower. They will offer you upgrade modules when you level up with them. Moving on, we have experience. And I actually get this question asked a lot. How do you get past 1810 power level? We do this by using the bonus power level, which is directly tied down to the seasonal artifact. It tells you exactly how much experience you need for the next bonus power level. However, do keep in mind that anything higher than 1820 power level will provide you no extra benefit in the game because most activities are level capped anyways. The exception to this are lost sectors, those are not level capped, therefore you will benefit from getting closer to the recommended power level. So just like with legendary shards, experience is quite simply obtained by playing the game and completing bounties as well as seasonal challenges. I suggest completing the weekly bounties once a week if you really care about the experience. I do have a trick that I've been using for years that will double some of the experience that you get from your seasonal challenges, resulting in something that looks like this. In this case, I ended up gaining 24 levels instead of the original 18 that I was supposed to get. To perform this trick, you need to have the well-rested buff, which you get every single week after the weekly reset. This buff lasts for 5 levels, so what you want to do is complete bounties to gain the first 3-4 levels. For example, I went from 45 to 48, and then on your last few levels, you quickly pop your seasonal challenges. This works because the buff takes a second or two to wear off even after it has been used up, so this ends up buffing more experience than what it is intended. Also, try joining a teammate or random guardian on any planet, that way you get the shared wisdom buff for even more experience. So basically, save up your seasonal challenges each week and then pop them after Tuesday's weekly reset. Now we are moving on towards more endgame materials such as Spoils of Conquest. These can be obtained by completing the encounters in the latest raid, in this case Crota's End. When final shape drops, the new raid will be the new way to farm these. You can also obtain 75 easy spoils per week solo and 90 with a teammate in under an hour by collecting raid chests. I have a whole guide about this on my channel, so I will leave the link in the comment section for you guys. Next up on the list, we have craftable weapons, and yes, these are farmable. You can obtain craftable weapons from doing seasonal activities or even buying them from seasonal vendors. Those also have a chance to be a red border. Raids can also be farmed for red border weapons as long as it is the weekly raid. Some raid encounters can even be soloed, but honestly for this one I recommend grabbing a team and farming them. If you want to craft weapons from older seasons, then you can grind for red borders in the weekly exotic missions. The first completion on normal and legend difficulty has a guaranteed chance of dropping a red border weapon. Do keep in mind that crafted weapons can be either leveled up with Glimmer and Cores, or simply by killing enemies, which I highly recommend Shurochi for that. Since we are on the topic of crafting weapons, there is one material that you will need in order to achieve that. Ascendant Alloys are a must if you want those enhanced perks. These can be obtained by doing the coil activity and getting a high platinum score. That way you can enter the secret portal with all the good chests at the end. The weekly missions in the Throne World as well as New Muna have a chance of dropping Ascendant Alloys upon completion. The drop rate increases with difficulty. Lastly, an easy way to grab alloys is by visiting Rahul in the tower and buying them for 10 Enhancement Prisms. Finally, for our last material, which is technically not farmable because you can only do this once a week, is the exotic Cipher. To obtain this, every week you have to go to Xur and grab the quest Xenology from him. This quest requires you to complete playlist activities, and it's actually a bunch of them. The better method to complete this is to simply do the weekly exotic mission. The normal version provides you with 4 points towards the quest, and the legendary version gives you 7. Exotic ciphers can be used in the exotic archive to buy exotic weapons. So overall, if I had to pick one activity to farm, then coil is easily the winner here, since it literally drops all the materials that you need. It has matchmaking enabled for solo players, and it can be done in around 30 minutes if you have a decent team or if you simply slap on Strand Titan and go crazy. And that is all for today's video. If you enjoyed my content, then consider liking and subscribing to the channel. And once again, huge shout out to my Patreon members, and thank you for supporting me and allowing me to create more content for everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day.